This is a true story that happened to my nephew. For privacy reasons, I won't mention real names. What you're about to hear is not a legend, not a myth. It's something that still haunts an entire village to this day. My nephew lived in a small, silent village, the kind of place where nights feel longer than they should, where sound travels too far, and where everyone knows everyone. The village was surrounded by open fields, old farmland passed down through generations, and land that carried more history than people like to talk about, ancient history. During the day, my nephew and 3 of his friends worked together in those fields. They planted crops, they harvested, they repeated the same routine every day. Life there was slow, painfully slow, and for young men, boredom can be dangerous. One evening, as the sun began to sink below the horizon, casting long shadows across the fields, they noticed something strange in the soil, something that didn't belong. A stone. At first, it looked ordinary, but once they brushed away the dirt, they saw markings, symbols, carved lines that looked like letters, but not any language they recognized. Time had worn them down. Whatever was written there had been erased by age, but the feeling it gave them was immediate, heavy, uncomfortable. The field was located disturbingly close to the village graveyard, just a short walk away. In that region, stories about treasure hunting were common. People whispered about ancient civilizations, hidden graves, and burials that were never meant to be disturbed. Some said gold was buried with the dead. Others said curses were. Curiosity slowly replaced fear, and curiosity won. They decided to dig. At first, they laughed about it, joked, but as the sky darkened and the air grew colder, their voices became quieter. For nearly 2 hours, they took turns digging. No music, no phones, just the sound of metal hitting soil. Then, one of them froze. The shovel hit something solid. Wood. They uncovered the edges carefully. What they found made their blood run cold. A coffin. What frightened them the most wasn't that it was there. It was that it didn't look old. The wood wasn't rotting. It wasn't collapsing. It looked preserved, almost untouched by time. One of the friends suggested opening it. Maybe there's something inside, he said. Gold, valuables, something worth money. That's when my nephew stepped back. He refused. He warned them. This is a grave, he said. You don't open graves at night. There are curses. His fear spread. The jokes stopped. In that village, stories of people being struck, possessed, cursed, changed, were not uncommon. People who went out normal and came back different. They made a decision. They covered the coffin, filled the hole, and left without another word. They all went home, or at least, that's what they thought. That night, my nephew couldn't sleep. The silence felt wrong, too thick. Then, at exactly 3 a.m., loud knocking, not gentle, not hesitant, hard, aggressive, as if whoever was outside knew he was awake. When my nephew opened the door, all 3 of his friends were standing there. But something was wrong, very wrong. They were smiling, not a friendly smile. Their faces looked stiff, their eyes empty. They didn't feel like his friends anymore. They told him to come with them, to go back to the grave, to finish what they started. They spoke calmly, too calmly. We'll be rich, they said, before someone else finds it. Come now. My nephew felt pure panic. He shouted at them, asked if they had lost their minds. He told them to go without him. He slammed the door shut, locked it, and sat in darkness until morning. The sun finally rose. But the nightmare wasn't over. When my nephew went to their houses later that morning, their families were already in chaos, crying, shouting. But they didn't ask what happened. They accused him. They said he was the one who came to their doors at 3 a.m. They said he knocked. They said he called their sons by name. They said he told them to come outside. Then they asked him something he couldn't answer. If it wasn't you, then tell us, where are our children? My nephew froze. He had never left his house. That was when he understood. Whatever was buried in that grave had not stayed buried. Something had come back, wearing familiar faces, using familiar voices, and it took them into the darkness. My nephew has never seen his friends again. No bodies were found, no traces. And in that village, No one ever digs near that place anymore.